Welcome. This is Gentle Yoga for Back Care. My name is Gail. I teach the Wednesday class at 1 p.m. Central Time. The other weeks, though, alternate weeks, it's chair Tai Chi. It's also a 60-minute class, and anywhere between 57 to 63 minutes in length. You need to leave, that's okay, but be sure to fill out the survey, the pain and stress survey. It was sent to you in an email, or it will be sent to you in an email after class. So what I'm going to do is stand up, move this chair out of the way. Just know I'm going to come back up to the front of the room when we do that guided rest, relaxation, gratitude practice. Maybe a little energy work. I don't know. We're just going to have to see. And again, welcome to class today. Now, you can be seated on the chair. I'm going to move this out of the way. But if you are seated on the chair, make sure, ooh, that's kind of fuzzy, isn't it? Is that fuzzy to y'all? Thumbs up, thumbs down, fuzzy yes? Sometimes it does a weird focus thing. Okay, that should be better. All right, if you're seated in the chair today, come away from the back of the chair so you engage those tall posture muscles. So again, be nice and tall in the chair. We're going to, guess what? We're going to start standing or seated on the yoga mat. We're going to do a little bit of breathing wherever you are. So point your toes towards the front of the room. Have them be parallel if you can. Little soft bend in the knees. Beautiful. Find your belly button. We do Dantian breathing here, which is the Tai Chi method. And we take the center of our palm there, about 2 inches below the belly button, and rest the other hand above that. Kind of wriggle those shoulders a little bit and then relax them down. Soft bend in the knees, softly seated on the chair, tall posture. As we breathe in, the belly expands. It's called low belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. Your chest also expands a little bit. So let's do that. Let's breathe in, belly big and soft. Now as you exhale, contract that belly button towards your spine. Draw it in towards the back of the room. And again, breathe in, belly, chest expand. And exhaling. I'm making a little sound to the back of the throat. It's called the Ujjayi breath. I call it ocean's breath. But again, let's do this again. Breathe in, belly big. And then exhale, belly button towards your spine. And again, I'm going to say one more time. So here we go. Breathe in, belly big. And belly button towards your spine. Beautiful. If you're seated on the chair, if you're standing on the floor, I invite you to take your toes in a little bit and the heels out. It's not much, but they're not aligned anymore. They're more turned in. So this activates our musculature in our quadriceps, in our hamstrings, in our behind, in that low back. Then we're going to do, let me come up to the camera, we're going to do what's called golfer's grip. We take the fingers and we fold them into the pads of the hands. And then we have the top of the hand aligned with the forearm. So this is part of our postural alignment for our back yoga class, whether you're seated again on the chair or standing. Again, whether you were on the chair or standing on the floor, toes in a little bit, heels out, press the feet firmly into the floor, then do that golfer's grip. But what I want you to do is do the letter W and show you squeeze the shoulders as you do that letter W with your arms. So we're strengthening the upper back musculature because where your pain is not often where the problem is. It's often a referred pain. So from here, soft bend in the knees, extend those arms out into a letter T. So you keep the squeeze of the shoulders. So point the thumbs towards me, and we're going to draw circles forward and back behind you with the squeeze of the shoulders. And you might eventually speed up, you might not. There's this little oscillation of the upper body, lower body happening here. There's some bilateral alignment happening with arm circles, squeezy shoulders, feet turned in, heels out, feet pressed into the floor. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. And then just kind of shoulders up and down here. Shake it out a little bit. Beautiful. And reset your feet if you moved them a little bit. Press firm into the floor. Now just a soft firm into the floor, like you can feel your feet on the floor, all right? And then golfer's grip, thumbs up, fingers as best you can into the pads. Go back to that letter W, re-squeeze the shoulders. Okay, got it going on, all right. And extend those arms out into a letter T. Now instead of thumbs to the front of the room, do thumbs up, thumbs behind you. Now just know you can do one at a time, okay? Draw a circle behind you and forward. Okay, here we go. Squeeze those shoulders. Don't hold your breath. Notice the wiggling of the upper body and into the hips, okay? Breathing in, breathing out. A couple more times. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Kind of move those feet a little bit, shake out those shoulders. So the therapeutic version of this is working up to 40 rotations forward and backwards. That doesn't happen day one. Just know that, okay? So the next one, again, you're away from the back of the chair. It's going to be seated cat-cow, but with an overhead extension. So let's interlace the fingers, okay? And again, I moved my feet from being pointed in to straight ahead again. And then from here, we're going to press the hands away. And as we're pressing the hands away, curve the spine to the back of the room. So a little seated cat here. Very good. Now, from here, kind of untuck that tailbone and bring your hands up towards the sky and really push the hands to where you're kind of lengthening out the pelvis, lengthening the spine up towards the sky with the hands overhead. Now, your hands may be more to the front of the room, and that's okay. You're still pushing away, lengthening away, whatever you can do at this moment. Very nice. Now bring it back here to the front, curve your spine once again. Then release the hands, bring fists on your hips or grab the back of the chair for seated or standing back bend. So you got to continue to do the forward and the extension and flexion of the spine to keep the spine healthy. Always keeping it between easy and ouch. Now bring your hands back to the side of the body. Let's inhale, circle, sweep arms up. And then exhale, float those arms down. Listen to the breath as you do this. Again, breathing in, circle, sweep arms up. Exhale, float those arms down. One more time. Inhaling, circle, sweep arms up. And exhaling. All right, so those of you that are going to come down to the floor, this is the time to come down to the floor. As y'all know, I have spicy back, so I use the chair to help me come down to the floor. Hands on my chair, step a foot back, come down to that one knee. Now I've got a knee that's got a problem too, so I don't really go on that knee much. But you know what? I'm going to keep my blanket close by because when we do Flowy Cat Cow, I might need that blanket. So you're going to tip over, and then you're sitting up again, nice and tall, seated on the chair today. If you're doing the chair versions, just know not all on the floor yoga postures translate well to the chair, but we do the best that we can, okay? And we're working gravity a little different too. So let's lie on our back, knees bent. Make sure though, before you get down, you've got your block and your strap, okay? I'm always like, where did it go? It's across the room. So constructive rest posture is also a yoga posture for easing back tension. So again, the therapeutic version of this is to stay here 5 minutes. We don't have time to do that today because we want to get through that big old list of yoga postures to help us throughout our class. So notice what you notice. How does this feel for the upper back, the lower back? For me, this is very uncomfortable because I've got that scoliosis going on. So I'm going to grab my wrist and pull my shoulder up and away, and that usually moves the muscle away from the spine, the twisted spine, and do the same with the other side. Oof, already that feels better. Now sometimes it feels kind of odd for the back side of my behind on the floor, so I'll walk my feet towards my behind, either with my own muscular strength, or if I don't have that today, hands on my booty, and I'll lift it up, and then I roll my spine down, lengthen it away. So it didn't necessarily feel, challenging on the back side, but I just wanted to give you that option to kind of make this more comfortable. Now, if you are very uncomfortable with the upper back, back of the head, you might want to take that yoga blanket, fold it, and place it underneath the back of the shoulders or underneath the shoulders and the back of the head to where that nose is more tucked in towards your chest than it is pointed back behind you. Because in back yoga, we typically have excessive curves in our cervical spine, the neck, and the low back. So lordosis, kyphosis. So what we're going to do first today is notice pose. Well, we've already done some stuff. So what we're going to do first, laying here on the floor, is notice pose. We're going to extend a leg all the way down. Take your time. Sometimes the hip is grabby. And then do the other one. So this is our snapshot of how we're doing today in class. So again, just kind of notice what you notice. I feel very tight or constricted in my hip bones, my hip musculature, again, for me, the low back feels kind of, I'm going to say icky, kind of icky, sticky on the yoga mat. And then it feels tight in my calves and that kind of thing. So just, again, this may not be the same for you. You may be going, hey, feels good. You're on the back of the heels, legs extended if you're seated on the chair, maybe hands on the chair. Now let's go back to constructive rest pose. So belly button tight as you draw the foot back onto the yoga mat, and then the other one. Very good. So let me look at our list here. We got about 40 different ones. You know what? We're going to do knee to chest. So if you're seated in the chair, you may want to take your yoga strap and find your foot in the middle of the yoga strap. Does that make sense? Probably not. Find the middle spot, place your foot, put the strap on the bottom of your foot. So this might be easier to do seated on a chair. Some of the poses on the chair are more difficult to do than ones laying on the floor. So those of us here on the floor, invite your knee into the chest with or without the strap. Now, notice what you notice. Is it into the hip crease? Is it into the side body? Is it into the low ribs? Or is it more far away? No right or wrong here. Just notice what you notice. And then what we'll do here is extend the legs straight. Now, it may be closer towards you. It may be more towards the floor. But notice a comfortable place, okay? You're resting on the back of the heel if you're here seated in the chair. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If you have spicy hip, that strap might be beneficial. You can do this without the strap, though. So what I'd like to invite you to do is inhale, invite the knee in towards your chest, and as you exhale, contract that belly, extend that leg out. Again, inhale, knee into chest, exhaling out. Keep moving, keep breathing. So this is going to kind of lubricate the knees, the hip complex. There's a little bit of stuff going on with the ankle, not much, but again, you might notice some little sounds, some little feelings going on with the knees, with the hips. Again, we're trying to lubricate those major joints in the body. And of course, we're using our muscles when we do this too. So there's some contraction energy going on with the big muscle groups, but we're going to work on that in just a bit. Again, yoga postures for easing back challenges. Let's do a couple of more, but you know, if you need or want to take a break, please do so, okay? And join us for the next one. Keep it away from the ouch. So I'm a little spicy in this right hip today, but I'm thinking a little bit of movement will kind of set me up really good. And that's typically what happens for me and what you all have said too. Woo! Let's do two more. This is two. And then one more. This is one. Now, I'm going to let go of my strap, bring my hands underneath my knee pit, and let my foot dangle. You may have to kind of lean back on the chair to help facilitate this. I'm seated on the chair, but let's do some point and flexes of the foot. So this helps lessen knee pain. Sometimes knee pain is related to back pain. It's all kind of up a chain, okay? Woo! Also helps you to walk better. And you might notice stiffness going on in the top of the foot, around the ankles. And again, there might be some snap, crackle, pops happening here. So here we are lubricating the ankle joint. We're being a little bit more intentional with this. Now we're going to make that stop, and then we're going to think about drawing the foot inward, ankle circle. So, oops, snap. I just made a big noise. Try to not do the entire leg. Try to isolate it with the ankle, okay? Again, this is to help to lessen knee pain and to have better walking ability when we work and isolate those ankles. So it's all very interrelated, interconnected, if that makes any sense. Woo! And then release this foot down to the floor. Yay! Other side. I'm going to try to do this without the strap on the other side. I don't know if it's going to work though. So first, invite your knee in towards your chest, and then notice what you notice. Okay, you're going to compare it to the other side. Is it more into your body? Mine is on this side. It's more into my side torso. It's into the hip crease and the side torso, not into the rib yet. But again, you're going to notice, is it different? Is it the same? Does it feel different in my body? All these things, all these questions, all these statements. All right, now let's extend the leg out. And again, is it comfortable being a little bit far away or more close to your body? So for me on this one, it's more comfortable being closer to my body. If you're seated on the chair, you're resting on the back of the heel, strap along the bottom of the foot, or fingertips underneath the knee pits to invite to go in and out. Again, this is going to feel different seated on the chair. So let's start. Let's inhale, knee into chest. Woo! And then exhale, belly button tight as you extend that leg out. Now, what I like about the strap, inhale, knee into chest. I can go with further away from my range of motion. Exhale, maybe I go a little bit more low, but if I have that strap, I know I can bring it back. Again, inhale, knee into chest. Exhaling. Again, I'm using that breath, that kind of hollow breath in the back of the throat. It's called the ocean's breath or Darth Vader breath, but in traditional yoga we call it the Ujjayi breath. It sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? Anyway, I kind of like Darth Vader breath though. But if you're too strong and breathing in the back of the throat, it can dry your throat and then you're going to cough and maybe you need a sip of water. So you got to find your happy place in your breath pattern. And you know what? Just breathe. It doesn't have to be clinical, okay? All right, we're going to do two more. Here we go. Here's two. Woo! And then here's one. And then invite the knee in towards your chest. Let the foot dangle. Let's do the point and flex on this side. Oh my. Do y'all feel that? Okay. Does this side feel more flexible, more stiff? Again, just notice what you notice. Is there a difference between left and right sides? Maybe, maybe not. Oh. I notice my camera is like far, far away here today. I don't know what I did today. Oh well, that's all right. I like to do lots of verbal cues in case you don't want to look at the camera. So we're going to make the foot still. Now we're going to draw the circle inward with our ankle. Ooh. So this side is really stiff for me. My foot just did a big old snap pop there. I don't know if I was talking. You probably didn't hear it. Sometimes if I'm quiet, you can hear all that crepitus, which means noisy, if I can say it, noisy bones. Bone noise. Whatever. That's a hard word for me to say for whatever reason. And then let's reverse. Go the other way. Does your foot ever want to go back to the original direction? Mine does sometimes. It's like really strange when that happens. Should be getting on fire or getting close to it. Not actually on fire, but feeling strenuous here. All right, and then release that foot down. While we're here, let's just kind of do a little foot cramp prevention. So let's wiggle the legs, wiggle the leg. If you want to wiggle your hands too at the same time. Not that, you have to wiggle the arms, but it's just kind of fun. Well, my version of fun. And then make everything still. If you can, let's lift the heels, alternate lift the heels. A little calf pump here. Returning blood flow from the lower extremities back to the heart. That calf pump is considered to be your second heart in traditional Chinese medicine. Very good. Excellent. Now from here, let's do notice pose. Extend the leg all the way down to the edge of the yoga mat. And then do the same thing with the other one. And you're on the back of the heels, legs extended. You're seated. And maybe wiggle your feet, wiggle your hips, wiggle your shoulders, and just notice what you notice. Are you more connected, more grounded to the floor? Does it feel a little different? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see, yeah? Okay. Belly button tight, core tight. Bring the foot back onto the floor, knee bent. Do the same with the other one. And let's do big toe hold. So grab your yoga strap. So this is where the gear comes in handy. You're going to place the kind of the middle part of your strap along the bottom of your foot. And then you're resting on the back of the heel, okay? And the foot is in front of you. So from here, we're going to be vigorous. Build bones, and we want to really kind of affect our knees and our hip joints, okay? So what we're going to do with this yoga strap, we're going to pull it towards us like vigorous, okay? And then you're thinking, that's okay. But what you're going to do, maybe bend the knee, push the strap away. So this are the 12 yoga postures for building bones, according to Dr. Lauren Fishman. I was in his study there for doing this. But you have to hold the poses vigorously to make bone building happening. So when you contract the large muscle groups in your body, your hamstrings, your behind, your quadriceps, your calves, and you hold that position 30 seconds to a minute and 12 seconds. Contraction of muscles stimulate bone growth. So that's a good thing. Now, you may be going, oh my gosh, this grip thing is really kind of getting to me. What you can do here is bring your hands down the strap towards you and then wrap your wrists and re-engage your grip. So if you have problems opening up jars, here's a little, auxiliary benefit is, you got to grip in order to build your grip, okay? So again, traditional yoga is taking your peace fingers, index finger and middle finger, wrapping it around that big toe, and the arm is straight and the leg is straight. Most folks can't do that, and in order to get a vigorous hold on this, we use our gear to supplement and make the pose even better, okay? Now, other foot is just sitting there on the floor, right? So we're going to tap, tap, tap the other foot. So tap, 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 little vibrational energy there. Now take that tappy foot and drop the knee out to the side. So that's like a counterweight, because we're going to switch our big toe hold pose into leg out to the side. So basically you're going to drop it towards the floor. The objective is both back sides of your bones stay on the chair, stay on the floor. You start to raise up on that opposite hip, then you've gone too far. Now I have a Vietnam veteran who's also a yoga teacher. He can drop this leg all the way down the floor, and I'm just quite jealous. I can't do that, but I'm just like always amazed when I go teach veterans yoga. He comes to the class, and he's a funny guy, and he's just like brilliant in his yoga postures. Again, I'm quite jealous. Anyway, we're getting into the nooks and crannies here out to the angle when we do big toe hold, leg out to the side. And there's a big fancy Sanskrit name for this. I won't bore you with that because I don't remember, basically. But I really like this posture. Are you feeling it in your forearms yet? You probably are. Again, I get to talk because we get to stay in the posture at least 30 seconds. Y'all going to be sick and tired of me. I can tell. All right, we're going to bring everything back to the center. So belly button tight, engage the core, engage the torso, and bring it back to the center. Release the strap. That's the favorite part of this yoga posture. Oh my gosh, my hands are like all crippled up here. So clap the hands. Woo, do that again. And let's bring some circulation back into the palms, back into the fingers. And you're thinking, Gail, we haven't done the other side yet. We're getting to it. All right, take your yoga strap. We're going to do the other side now. Yay. And y'all going, I don't know about that. Here we go. Strap into the other foot. Now remember, we got to make this vigorous, okay? We got to have contraction energy. So pull on that strap, bend the knee, push the strap away. Ooh, this one feels spicy. Ooh. So again, if it's a little too much, maybe back off. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm going to bring my hands up the strap or down the strap, whatever it's considered, and wrap my wrists so I can get a little different kind of grip going on. Woo! You should be feeling it in your forearms, maybe your biceps, triceps with the seated version. Some of us are able to bring the elbows down. Maybe they brought the hands a little bit more up the strap or down the strap. I'm not sure if it's up or down the strap. Oh, well, you know what I'm talking about. You moved it on the strap. Are you pushing into the strap? That's my question. Y'all don't have to answer, but woo, I'm feeling it in the forearms. I'm getting some grip stuff going on here, feeling it at the bottoms of the feet, the calf, most definitely the calf, the hamstring, back of the leg, a little bit of contraction energy happening in the front of the leg, the quadriceps. If it's spicy in the back of the knee, bend the knee just a skosh, but just still, you're going to feel it a little different place when you do that, okay? So again, do what you can with what you got today. Woo! All right, now, other foot. Let's go tappy, tappy. Here we go. Tap, tap, tap. Now, often when I'm laying on the floor, I get lots of sinus drainage. So if you hear me going, no, that's why, okay? All right, now make the foot still and then drop the knee out to the side. That's called half of a windshield wiper. It might feel a little bit more spicy in the back of the leg when you do that. Now, the leg that's in the sky, drop it towards the floor, keeping both back sides of the bones. Now, I'm here at the wall, but, that's about as far as I can go on this side. If you need to re-engage your vigorous, Is that a word? No. Pull push. I'm just going to make sure that it is vigor. Your vigorosity. No, that's not a word either. Well, words get created when you create them. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to laugh at myself. So if it's a fake laugh or a real laugh, that's good endorphins in the brain. Sometimes it keeps you in a posture. Sometimes it doesn't help at all. Also, if you're in a spicy yoga pose, whatever class that you're in, see if you can return your attention to the breath. So listen to the breath going in through the nose. So let's do it. And then out through the nose. So that's redirection of senses. Sometimes it allows you to stay in the posture. Sometimes it doesn't help at all. And you have to back out. And it's okay, all right? Because not all postures are going to feel the same, right side versus the left. Again, big toe hold, leg out to the side. This is one of the 12 yoga postures for bone building. Oh my. But you have to hold them vigorously to get that bone building benefit. BBB, as I like to say. All right, we're through with that one, so bring it back to the center. Everything engaged, everything engaged. Release the strap. Wow. Clap the hands. Oh my gosh. Do it again. My hands are going, ugh. You've just been torturing me with that big toe hold, yeah? Yeah, you bet. Okay, now I'm going to sit up because I'm going to talk about this next posture. It's called, I'm not sure what it's called. Oh, letter T arms overhead extension. So for those of you seated, this is why I wanted to come sit up. We're basically going to go back to that letter W where you're squeezing the shoulders, but it's hands in front of you first. So you're doing super person hands. And then you're doing that golfer's grip where you're folding it in and the top of the hand aligned with the forearm, okay? And then you're going to bend at the elbow, so there's your squeeze right there. If you're laying on the floor, it's a little bit easier to do. But for seated, again, it's parallel forearms to the floor, and you're going to squeeze and release. We're going to need our yoga block for this one. If you don't have a yoga block, legs together, and you're going to have squeezing the legs together. You might grab a blanket if you don't have a yoga block, okay? Or something you can squeeze, maybe a small couch pillow, okay? So I'm going to move my yoga mat out of the way. There again, there's my yoga block. I'm going to go ahead and go back to constructive rest posture. But you know what? We got to do notice pose again. So before we go into overhead extension, extend one leg, then the other. Wiggle the shoulders, wiggle the hips, wiggle the legs. Notice what you notice. You might feel more connected to the yoga mat. You may not. I don't know. Okay. Feet back onto the yoga mat. Grab your block. You're going to do the medium width or 6 to 8 inches width. Okay. Bring it in between the legs and, bring it away from the knees. And take the feet and heel toe the feet in towards one another to where you feel a little inner thigh contraction going on without really having to do much work. Again, this also helps with strengthening the hip complex and having better walking ability. So we're going to bring the arms out in front of us like we're flying through the air. Go ahead and fly your arms. Just bear with me, okay? Turn the hands towards one another, and you're going to fold the fingers into the pads of the hands as best you can. Now turn the thumbs towards the inside of your body or towards the center, and then we're going to bend the elbows. So it's parallel forearms to the floor, and it's letter T arms if you're laying on the yoga mat. You know what? Walk the feet in a little bit more. What we're going to do here is keep a consistent squeeze of the yoga block. Now it's not 100%. It's whatever feels okay. You can keep it up, okay? And then squeezing the shoulders. We're going to squeeze the shoulders or push the shoulders into the floor and release. Squeeze those shoulders and release. 3 more. Squeeze and release. 2 more. Squeeze and release. And here we go. Last one. Squeeze and release. Now bring the hands in front of you. Clap the hands. Woo! Rub some feeling, because golfer's grip is not an easy thing, but it aligns our forearm muscles with our body. So that's a good thing. Now, interlace the fingers. Now, if you're lying on your back, bring your shoulders back. And mine are kind of elevated right now. I'm going to drop my shoulders into the yoga mat. And then I'm making sure my elbows look the same. That right one likes to turn out, so I'm making it the same as my left one. With a contracted torso as best you can. Everybody, with the hands in front of you, start bringing the arms slowly, not fastly, slowly up and overhead. Now keep the arms straight. When you want to start to bend the elbows, that's probably your stopping place. Or if a shoulder is giving you a conversation, that might be your stopping place. Make a mental note, physical note, where is it? So here it's on my side of my glasses. I'm going to wiggle my thumbs while I'm here. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then contract your torso. Bring your hands slowly from overhead back in front of your chest. Are you still squeezing your block? Squeeze your block. Release the hands. Clap the hands. Woo! Get some feeling going back on with your hands. So this is to help with a range of motion in that shoulder complex, plus strengthening the upper back, strengthening the inner thighs, the outer thighs with this posture. All right, go back to that flying the hands in the air. Very good. And then fold the fingers into the pad. Ooh, I got that right one down. My right one doesn't come down too often. And turn the thumbs to the center of your body. Now bend the elbows, back of the arms on the yoga mat, parallel arms if you're seated. So here we go. Squeeze the block if you weren't doing that already. Okay, good. Squeeze the shoulders, release. Squeeze the shoulders, release. Let's do 3 more. Squeeze and release. 2 more. Squeeze and release. And one more. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then clap the hands in front of you. Yay. Woo. Maybe less squeezing while you rub your hands of the yoga block, of the pillow. Don't be slouching on your chair, folks. You should be shifted towards the front of the chair when you're doing this. Tall posture muscles, okay? I can't see what you're doing. I'm checking up on you, though, okay? Interlace those fingers, squeezy palms, shoulders down, elbows the same. Check, 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 check. Okay, here we go. Torso contracted. Arms up overhead. Slow. No fasties. No fasties, okay? You want to feel that challenge in your posture muscles. Again, this is for your back health. It's going to be tougher to do this seated than it is laying on your back. Try to do this in your bed if you're a seated person. Now, go to your place where you're going to stop. Now, I'm here by the temples now. Wiggle your thumbs. I'm trying to bring my hands down to the floor, but it's not there yet. Maybe someday. All right, squeeze the palms, belly button tight, torso tight. Squeeze the block. And then bring the arms slowly. I didn't say fast. I said slowly. Woo! Back in front of your chest. I want to go fast too. Just know that, okay? Then release your hands once they're in front of your chest. Clap your hands. Woo! Get some feeling going back on. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to heat up my hands here. And last time, yay, today. So golfer grip hands. Turn the thumbs to the center. Shoulders down. I just did my shoulders down. Now bend the elbows. I didn't say shoulders down when I said this before, did I? Oh, well. Now we're going to squeeze the shoulders. Here we go. Squeeze and release. Squeeze that yoga block consistently. Squeeze, release. 3 more. Squeeze, release. 2 more. Squeeze, release. 1 more. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Now hands in front of you. Clap. Oh, clap again. Got to get a quality clap in there, okay? Now, interlace the fingers, shoulders down, make the elbows look the same, okay? Keep the arms straight as best you can, folks. Squeeze that block, sweet. All right, bring the arms up and overhead. Don't go fast. Don't go fast. Go slow. Are we feeling a little challenge in this overhead extension, letter T arms? Yoga posture. Going to where you can go, where there's no pain. Let's not go to the pain. And then you're going to be at a stopping place. One shoulder may stop you. Now wiggle those thumbs. Ooh, I'm touching the floor. Sometimes I touch it with both. It's usually just one though. Okay. Now, torso tight and squeeze the block. Slowly, arms overhead, come back to in front of your chest. Go slow, 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 slow. Oh my. Release the hands, clap the hands. Rub those hands, take that yoga block out. Yay. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to take the leg that's closest to me, drop the knee out to the side, a windshield wiper. Now, sometimes you need to take that yoga block underneath if you don't, if it doesn't feel good in your body. Maybe, sometimes the leg weight makes you lift that opposite hip. So sometimes I use that block to just let it rest there. And that's okay. We're stimulating the side of the foot also when we do windshield wipers. Now, contract your core, and my opposite hip is rolled off a little bit. And you can use your hand and bring it back to the center. If you're seated on the chair, maybe you have the balls of the feet on the yoga block to have a little height to do windshield wipers, okay? Now let's do the other side. Drop it out to the side. Woo! And just kind of, feel that kind of opening of the hip bone. It's not opening the hip bone. The muscles around the hip. And then bring it back to the center. Now we're going to add on to windshield wipers by dropping the other leg. So first, go back to the original leg. We're going to drop the knee towards the floor. Decide if you want the yoga block or not. Then you're going to take the top leg and drop it towards the bottom leg. So you should feel this generous lengthening, stretching feeling happening with the top hip. Sometimes it's spicy. You can take your heel of the hand and do a little trigger point where you press that heel into that spicy area to kind of ease tension in that area if you want to. I mean, it's just an option I'm giving y'all, okay? Squeeze the core, bring the top leg, use your hand if you need to, back to the center, bottom leg, back to the center. Let's do the other side. So drop the other leg out to the side, windshield wipering over. Option, well, let's try, take that top leg, drop it towards that bottom leg. And again, notice that stretchy, lengthy sensation, maybe from your kind of the low armpit down the side of the ribs into that top of the hip, the side hip here. And again, use that heel or your thumb, press into the area that's feeling a little extra. Or not. You can just kind of enjoy, and I'm putting that in air quotes, enjoy the pose. Bring that top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Again, guess what? Notice pose. Extend a leg. Very good. Extend the other. Shake it out. Shake those shoulders too. All right. Beautiful. I'm looking at our time here. So we need to do cat-cow, side lateral flexion, and unsupported twists. So what I'm going to invite you to do is bring your feet back onto the yoga mat. Those of you laying here on your backs, lift up, then turn. If you have SI joint dysfunction, you'll thank me for that. You ever have pain rolling over one side to the other on the bed? You probably have a misaligned SI joint. The hand that's in front, press into that. Maybe take your top leg, extend it, and press up. Now, sometimes when we're laying on that back for a long time, we come up to an upright position. There's this equilibrium shift, and maybe you stay here for a second. Or maybe you can come up to seated. Whew. Now, for me, it's difficult to sit on the floor without a bit of elevation. So this is why I like that yoga blanket. I'll have it in like a kind of a rectangle shape, and I'll fold it in thirds. And this is from Judith Lassiter, Restorative Yoga. I took a workshop with one of her mentees or mentees, and they talked about folding your yoga blanket and being able to be elevated. Now, what this helps with is sometimes we're kind of curved when we sit on the floor. Sitting on the edge of the yoga blanket allows that pelvis to tilt forward and then have it feels like you're able to breathe a little bit easier. Again, if you're seated on the chair, you're not slumping into the back. You're sitting a little forward, okay? And the yoga block, sometimes there's some spicy business going on, and I will sometimes use a yoga block to have support underneath my spicy areas. I got spice. Anyway, we're going to do, it's called first the unsupported twist. So typically in a yoga class, you might hear, okay, let's take a hand and bring it across our body and push into the leg and twist. That's a no-no for those of us with back challenges, because sometimes you'll twist into pain, okay, or you'll do more than you need to. So we do what's called unsupported twist. So we go back to that letter W where we're squeezing the shoulders. And what we're going to do from our pubic bone to our collarbone, we're using that thoracic spine to twist. We're not using a lever to help us twist. I hope that makes sense, folks. So here we go. It's a little bit of math, a little bit of physics going on here. So we're going to breathe in, squeeze those shoulders like we did at the beginning, and contract that belly button towards your spine. Now let's turn over towards one side. Now you may lose your outside shoulder. Re-squeeze it. The chin is aligned with your chest, okay? Breathe in, belly big. Belly button tight. Bring it back to the center. and release everything down. Relax it all down. Kind of wiggle those shoulders a little bit. Wiggle those hands. We're going to go over and do the other side. So back to that letter W. Squeeze those shoulders. Squeeze. Breathe in. And we're going to turn to the other side. Here we go. Belly button tight. Turn, turn, turn. Ooh, did you turn more on that side? Maybe. Stay here. Breathe in. Exhale back to the center and release. We're only going to do one set of those. We need to do side lateral flexion. So you can either be seated on the chair, standing, or on the floor. We're going to inhale, circle, sweep arms up. Now, if you're on the chair or on the floor, you can sneak a hand back behind you or a fist on a hip. And then inhale, reach for the sky. Now I'm going to bend that back elbow for support and reach up and over. So you may feel this from your hip bone to your armpit. Side lateral flexion. Inhale, bring it back on up. Exhale, float it down. Beautiful. You may notice differences one side versus the other. So let's do the other side. But first, breathe in, circle it up. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Exhale, bring that hand back behind you, fist or wrist, okay? And then reach, 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 reach. On the next exhale, bring it over. And maybe you need to bring the hand out a little bit if you're feeling a little unstable or a very firm hand on that chair, okay? Inhaling, bring it back to the center. Exhale, float it down. All right, so cat-cow can be curving your spine to the back of the room and hinging forward. But those of us with kyphosis, lordosis, excessive curvature in the cervical spine, low back, need to do a little safer version of the pose. So if you're comfortable seated on the chair, you know, you don't want to drop your chin toward your chest or eyes towards the sky. Again, that's too much for that neck. Just keep your ears aligned with the top of the shoulders. The floor version is called Flowy Cat Cow, and it's from Yin Yoga. We actually have a Yin Yoga class on the menu. You might want to check it out. I'm not sure what day. I think Ann teaches that. I'm trying to remember if she does or not. I don't know if she's teaching at the moment right now. We'll have to see. Anyway, again, I use that blanket underneath my spicy knees, and some people do tops of the feet. I do curly toes because I've got weird toes. You know, I've jammed a toe. I've had toe surgery. So for me, curly toes is more comfortable for my body. But, you know, you do you, okay? So for Flowy Cat Cow, you know, you have your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips for traditional cat-cow. For Flowy Cat Cow, I bring my knees just a little bit more apart, and I shift forward on. My hands are more towards the top of the yoga mat, and I'm spreading out those hands like little starfish, and I come down to my forearm. So it's like a variation of extended child's pose. But what I do here is I kind of inchworm my elbows towards my knees a little bit, and that allows me to sink my behind towards my heels. Now I'm going to bring my arms a little bit wider apart. My belly is soft on this, no contraction going on. From here, I'm looking at my yoga mat, and I'm going to inhale, drag my nose up in between my arms. Once my nose kind of gets aligned with my wrist, I contract my belly, and I peel my forearms off the yoga mat and shift forward. Then I curve my spine to the top of the room and sink my behind towards my heels again. Let's do that again. Inhale, drag your head up in between the arms. Once it gets close to the nose aligned with the wrist, contract that low belly, mid belly, upper belly, peel those forearms off, shift forward and curve to the top of the room. Exhaling, lowering down. Again, inhale, drag it forward. Exhale to the sky, lower your behind towards your knees. And again, one more time, inhaling and exhale. From here, we're going to come up to standing. So what I'm going to do is take my foot up in between my hands. I bring it out to the side to make that happen. Usually I use the chair, but today I'm going to try to do it without the chair. I'm either on fingertips or fists, and I shift forward, curl that back toe, lift that back knee. Now keep low. I take that back leg, hop, walk it towards my other foot. Once it gets there, hands on my hips, hinge up towards the sky. Not rolling, but hinging for back yoga. Now sometimes you can be dizzy coming up off the floor. So feet wide, hands on your chest, chin towards your chest. Breathe for a moment here. Inhaling and exhaling. And sometimes that allows the room to start settling down if you have those equilibrium changes. Okay, so this next one is we're going to do Warrior 2 and also tree posture. These are Also, bone building postures and postures for back care. I use a chair when I do my standing postures. Again, I'm super wiggly. And I'm going to get that block close by for tree pose. So, for those of you doing the seated versions, and if you're unfamiliar with that, you're away again from the back of the chair. Let me get this in the camera here, okay? And you take one leg out to the side, normally returning towards the center. But what we're trying to do is have the chest to the front of the room. And we're vigorously pressing into the heels. The feet aren't just sitting here. They're doing some vigor, okay? We're all about the vigor. We're going back to that letter W and then extend those arms out. Now, let me get up and do that and take a break because I need to do the standing ones too, okay? So feet wide, use your chair if you need to. And since we step the foot out to this side, we're going to lift the heel, turn the foot towards the short end of the yoga mat. And you try to see, is your knee aligned with your foot, that kind of stuff. Are your hips pretty good parallel to the long end of the yoga mat? Do whatever you can with the other foot to feel firm into the floor. Now again, there's a wrinkle on the ground. We hate wrinkles. So we're going to push down and away to smooth out that wrinkle. So that's to encourage hip contraction, hip muscle contraction, feet firm into the floor. Go to that letter W with your upper back. So we get 2 for the price of the 1. Contraction of the upper back, firm contraction of the lower body. Now keep the shoulders squeezed. Again, you can hang onto the chair if you're using a chair today. Arms out into that letter T. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Now, you know what? Go back, relax the shoulders up and down. Let's once again, yes, I'm gonna do it. Golfer's grip in this pose. So golfer's grip, yeah, you knew that, right? So squeeze the shoulders, golfer grip hands, arms letter T, thumbs to the front of the room, draw circles. You can do one side at a time if you're feeling wiggly today. Are you doing firm feet into the floor? I think so. Squeezy shoulders. Yeah, Joseph did a thumbs up. Or Maggie did a thumbs up, I'm not sure. Oh my. And release. Wiggle those shoulders. Shake those hands. Come back into the center. So it's going to be pivoting foot, walking in. Bring that leg in. Now we're going to do the other side. You step the other foot out. Again, turn the torso to the front of the room. Those of us standing, step those feet wide. Heel toe out a little bit. Lift the heel, turn the foot, bend the knee. Now why do I say lift the heel, turn the foot? Weight bearing on a turning foot usually torques the knee, does stuff with the low back. So be cautious and careful. Is your knee aligned with your foot? Are your hips parallel to the long end of the yoga mat? Things to kind of check. Knee can be bent more. You can heel toe out more if you want to, okay? Golfer's grip, letter W with your shoulders, and then extend them out into a letter T. Now thumbs up, thumbs to the back of the room. Ooh. Draw the circle behind you and forward. Make sure it's going back behind you, okay? So just a little bit here. I want us to get to block bridge because that's the sweetness of that's what we're building up to, okay? Block bridge is 99% of everybody's favorite yoga posture. But now if you're seated on the chair, you got to get on the couch to do that one. 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Check it out. Yay. Okay, come out of posture. Now, for the tree pose for seated, I like to take that yoga block way up to the front of the chair. And again, I'm sitting at the edge of the chair, and I have my ball of my foot on the yoga block, and I'm turning that foot out to the side. And I'm pressing vigorously into the turn foot, into the foot in the floor, letter W, V, hands, heart, center. Those of us standing, step a foot out to a side, lift that heel, turn that foot. This might be your tree pose. Maybe it's foot into the ankle. Maybe it's into the calf. Maybe it's into the inner thigh. Try not to jut your hip out too much though, okay? Be tall on that balanced leg. So do what you can. Maybe it's a hand on the chair. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're noticing the dance of the foot. So we don't stay here for very long because I know that those of us with back challenges have definitely one side different than the other. But do what you can with what you got. So the objective is the knee stays out to the side. It doesn't start to travel. It goes out to the side. So you may have to go to a different position to make that happen. And release. Move side to side. Move that yoga block over to the other side if you're doing the chair version. And again, step a foot out, lift the heel, turn the foot. Each teacher is going to teach this different. Just know that, okay? And again, come up, come into the wall, sometimes hand on the wall, and have that knee out to the side and into that calf. And that usually I can have both hands up when I do this because I've got the wall there. But you know what? You do, and mine's always swaying. Yep. Again, kind of lengthen from your pubic bone to your carpet. Lengthen up. Don't hold the breath. Very good. And release. Let's come back down to the floor. We got one more, what I like to call juicy yoga pose. Well, that's kind of weird, right? Okay, so call the yoga pose that. Let's go back to constructive rest posture. Just for a moment here. Extend those, and once you're there, we're going to do notice pose, so extend those legs. Notice what you notice here. Does it feel different from the beginning of class? Most likely. Now, you're placing the block at the back of the chair or getting on the couch to do this one if you're seated, okay? Those of us here on the yoga mat, bring the feet on the yoga mat and then lift your behind up and bring your behind on that yoga block. Now, you can do this without the block. Just know that, okay? You're going to take your shoulders, kind of walk them away a little bit. Then, from here, if it's available, you're going to bring a leg in the air and shake it. So it's another way to release tightly held tension in the body. And then shake it side to side. Might feel kind of weird. I always think this one feels weird. And then release that one down. Notice if you feel any sensation going on there. Let's do the other one. So bring that leg in the air. Shake it side to side. Shake, shake, shake. And then let's do the other one. Bring the other one in the air. If you can. Some folks are able to do this seated on the chair too. I've seen y'all do that. It's kind of cool. And then shake it side to side. Up and down. Side to side. And let's slowly bring one down. Again, notice any sensation happening. Then the other. Press into the floor with the feet. And squeeze the shoulders, raise up, bring that block out, and roll your spine down. That's usually the sweet spot for folks. And then maybe, let's do that notice pose. Extend one leg, shake a foot, extend the other leg. So maybe this is where you're going to be during the guided rest, maybe not. For a lot of folks that have back challenges, they either put their legs up on the chair, the seat of the chair, for what's called legs on the wall pose or legs on the chair, or they'll bend their knees and bring their feet super wide, like the width of the yoga mat, and drop the knees in. And then maybe hands rest on the torso or arms out to the side. As you're getting comfortable, whether it's, legs on the seat of the chair or getting comfortable in your chair or the couch or here on the floor, just, get comfortable. And again, I'm going to come up to the front of the room and do that guided rest and relaxation practice. So just notice any sensations that are going on with your body at the moment. Maybe you had a spicy hip or something going on here. Notice if it's different at the end of the class versus the beginning of class. And we're going to do what's called a non-sleep deep rest meditation today, guided rest. So all you have to do is listen to my voice, okay? So again, get a little bit more comfortable. Maybe it's kind of wriggling those shoulders, shaking those arms out, wiggling one leg, then the other. Just kind of sink and settle into the surface that's supporting you, whether you're seated on the couch or on the floor. Let's just go and notice the breath. Just notice that you're breathing. And what we'll do here is called the elongated breath. It's where we breathe in to a count of 4, and I'll clap my hands 4 times. We'll pause, and then we'll exhale to a count of 5. So this is to lower our heart rate, lower our blood pressure. So let's do that. Let's breathe in, and then slowly breathe out. Let's do that again. Inhaling, and then slowly, slowly out. One more time. Inhale, belly big. Exhale, slowly. On this next one, just breathe in and maybe let out a sigh as you exhale. Let's do that again. Breathing in. All right. From the crown of your head, through your face, through your shoulders, your chest, your belly, your hips, the front of the legs, the knees, the shins, the toes. Just let your body kind of relax, melt, release. From the bottoms of the feet up through the ankles, the calves, the back of the knees, the back of the legs, the buttocks, the low back, mid back, upper back, back of the head. Travel through all those areas and just notice if there's sensations going on there. Notice what you notice. And just release, relax. Good. From here, once again, from the crown of your head down to the tips of your toes, let the healing breath enter the top of your head all the way down to the toes. Think of it as breathing in sunshine. So let's breathe in sunshine from the crown of our head and let every cell in our bodies be saturated with that healing sunshine. So breathe in and slowly breathe out. As you breathe out, you're letting go of what no longer serves you today. And again, breathe in that healing sunshine. And as you exhale, let go of what no longer serves you today. Beautiful. From here, you can stay here or join me as we end our class today. And if you're joining me, let's wiggle those toes, those fingers. If you're lying on your back, bend one knee, then the other, and then slowly roll over onto your side body, coming up to a seated place. Once you're at that seated place, let's go ahead and lead with the shoulders and do those wide shoulder circles. Again, take your time getting here. Let's just add a little movement to bring us back into our bodies after we've done just a little bit of releasing, relaxing, letting go. And then let's reverse. So that low belly breathing, the diaphragmatic breathing, is to help you relax, get you more oxygen into your blood. It makes it easier for your body to release gas waste from your lungs, reduce that blood pressure, reduce that heart rate. It helps you to get out of the fight or flight into the parasympathetic, the rest and relaxation. And then come up to the center and let's curve to the back of the room for that cat posture, just to kind of let those muscles peel away from the spine. And then slowly come up to mountain pose or tall posture. And then hands on the legs, hinge forward for cow posture, or forward fold as we like to call it. And then come back up to tall posture. Let's once again do that cow, kind of curve that spine to the back of the room. Notice what you notice. It feels kind of yummy today. And then come back up to a tall posture, nice tall posture, and hinge forward. Here we go. You can bring your elbows out to the side and hinge forward. Beautiful. Come back to heart center. From here, turn the head over towards one side. And then if you're able, drop the chin towards your chest. And then slowly bring it over to look at the other side. And then back to heart center. From here, let's do our gratitude practice. So what I like to do is invite folks either to do hands together or hands stacked upon the heart. And let's think about one thing that we're grateful for today, or maybe an idea of gratitude. Let's take whatever we're grateful for, kind of grab it, clasp it, place it to our heart center. And in fact, in gratitude, let's just drop our chins towards our chest. And gratitude is showing up today. Staying here just for a moment, embracing gratitude And you can keep your chin towards your chest or bring it back to its natural place, eyes opened or closed, as I say our traditional sayings to end our class today. So the light in me honors and respects the light in you. So let's take the peace, the strength, and the understanding, and that little attitude of gratitude, and let's pass it on. Namaste, which means the bright light in me honors and respects the bright light in you. This concludes our practice of gentle yoga for back care. I'm now going to stop the recording